On the night every child was given a name, the sky filled with light. In the hilltop village of Lumeris, people gathered beneath the open heavens, holding lanterns and breath alike. One by one, newborns were lifted toward the stars, and one by one, the constellations shimmered and whispered their names into the world. Each name glowed briefly in the air before settling gently into the child's heart, binding them to a destiny written far above. Names meant everything in Lumeris. A name told you who you would become. A name promised belonging. But on one quiet night, the stars fell silent. A boy was born just before dawn, when the sky was paling and the constellations were fading from view. His mother waited beneath the open sky, hopeful, trembling, certain the stars would speak as they always had. They did not. No glow appeared, no whisper followed. The heavens remained still, distant and cold. The elders waited, the villagers murmured, the lanterns flickered low. At last, with heavy hearts, they lowered the child back into his mother's arms. He had been seen by the stars and refused. No name was given. The boy grew, and so did the quiet space where his name should have been. Children in Lumeris wore their names proudly. They spoke them before every game, carved them into wood, sang them during festivals. Names opened doors, guided paths, and shaped futures. The nameless boy had none of that. People called him the boy, or the child, or nothing at all. Some believed the stars had seen something unworthy. Others feared he carried a destiny too dangerous to name. He learned early to walk the edges of gatherings, to listen instead of speak, to smile softly when others looked through him. Yet he was gentle. When someone fell, he helped them up. When animals were frightened, they calmed near him. When sadness lingered, he stayed until it passed. Still, each night, he looked up at the stars. Why? He wondered, though he never spoke it aloud. As years passed, the ache grew heavier. Without a name, he could not train for a craft, could not be chosen for an apprenticeship, could not claim a path. Destiny in Lumeris required a name. On the eve of his 12th birthday, the sky burned brighter than it had in generations. The elders gasped as a rare event unfolded above them, the celestial crossing, when the stars aligned and the ancient starway revealed itself for a single night. Legend said that anyone who walked the starway could stand before the stars themselves. Most feared it. None had tried for centuries. The boy watched from the hill, heart pounding. If the stars had refused to name him once, perhaps they would never speak. But if there was even a chance, even the smallest flicker of hope. That night, while the village slept, he began to climb. The path was steep and silent, winding higher than the lantern lights below. As he reached the summit, the air changed, humming softly, alive with starlight. Before him stretched the starway, a bridge of shimmering light arcing into the heavens. He stepped onto it. With each step, memories pressed around him. The whispers, the stares, the empty space where his name should be. The starway seemed to test him, bending, flickering, asking without words why he dared walk it. When he stumbled, he rose. When the light dimmed, he moved forward anyway. At the heart of the starway, the stars finally spoke, not in names, but in questions. Why do you seek us? The boy lifted his face. He did not answer with anger or sorrow. I want to belong, his heart replied. The stars flared and the truth was revealed. They had not refused him because he lacked a destiny. They had waited because his destiny could not be written. He was not meant to follow a path set by the stars. He was meant to choose one of his own. The light around him softened, warmer now, almost tender. But the stars warned him, to return, he must give something in exchange. A name given by the stars would bind him forever. The boy looked back at the village below, the people who had doubted him, yes, but also the ones he had helped, the ones he loved. Slowly, he shook his head. I don't want a name that tells me who I must be, he thought. I want to discover who I am. The stars shimmered in quiet awe. When he stepped back onto the hilltop, dawn was breaking. The starway faded, and the sky returned to its gentle blue. The villagers found him there, bathed in soft light, changed but unchanged. The elders waited, breath held. What is your name? One finally asked. The boy smiled. I don't have one yet, he said, but I will earn it. And so he did. He helped rebuild broken bridges, guided lost travelers, and stood bravely when fear threatened to take hold. Without a name to define him, people began to know him by his actions. In time, the village understood. On the next naming night, when lanterns rose and stars shimmered, the heavens did something they had never done before. They did not whisper a name. They echoed the village's voice instead. A name formed, not from destiny, but from love, courage, and choice. The boy felt it settle into his heart at last. And for the first time, the stars shone not above him, but beside him. True belonging is not something granted by fate, tradition, or recognition from above. It is something earned through the quiet choices we make every day. In the boy's world, names are seen as destiny. They are gifts from the stars, symbols of worth and purpose. When the stars refuse to name him, he believes something must be missing inside him. Like many of us, he learns early to measure himself by what he has not been given. This absence becomes his wound, and for a long time, his life is shaped by waiting. Waiting to be chosen, waiting to be validated, waiting to be seen. But the story gently reveals a deeper truth. Waiting for permission to matter can keep us from living. When the boy turns away from the stars and begins helping others, repairing what is broken, guiding those who are lost, standing steady when fear rises, he unknowingly begins to name himself through action. No one commands him to do these things. He does them because kindness feels right, because courage grows when shared, because love does not require an audience. The turning point of the story is not when the stars finally respond, but when the boy no longer needs them to. By choosing purpose over recognition, he becomes whole.